What's up?
This movie is like Scream.
Nah, it was in this movie Scream. Same dialogue and everything. This is ill.
But a better one, this is Scary Movie 1. The film begins with Drew receiving a phone call from an anonymous man while preparing her food. She then locks all the doors, still on the phone, when the mysterious man starts to make creepy replies to her physique like he is watching her. Scared, Drew threatens to call the cops, but the stranger even encourages her instead of stopping her. He then tells her to check the back door, so she quickly runs and locks it. The doorbell rings and
I can't feel my legs.
My arm is broken.
ow, poor kids. Drew comes back into the house, and a man dressed as Ghostface comes out of nowhere and she saw weapons near her. It should be the gun, right? What? Women, right? Just kidding. He chases her with a knife. He catches her and I knew it. He looks at it, disgusted, while Drew sees her father's car driving towards them. Drew yells at her father, but her father does not see her because he is busy with the pleasure Drew's mother gives him. The car hits Drew. The killer then approaches her and slits her throat. Subsequently, a teenager named Cindy distracts her father to save her boyfriend, Bobby, who is in her room. After informing her that he will be gone for a while, Cindy's father finally leaves. Is the coast clear?
Cindy, that nightgown.
He persuades Cindy to at least make out with him. Do you want to play instead?
Well, I was kind of hoping to get my balls lit, but I wouldn't want to break your little underwear rule, now would I?
Which they do for a few minutes. Cindy stops their session. Let me show you these. The following day, we see Brenda and Shorty teasing each other.
Your father's stupid.
So, I don't know him.
Come on, maybe he's just out to buy some milk. Brenda meets Cindy and they see Buffy. Brenda doesn't like her cause she's a slut.
I don't know. I think Buffy's sweet, Brenda.
Yeah, she's hot. I mean sweet. A beggar goes to them and asks for $1. Get lost. Come on, he's just hungry.
I said $1, bitch.
Ow!
Cindy and her friends are shocked to see the school grounds full of news reporters. Hey guys, I'm on TV.
That's it. 2 teens dead.
They all sympathize to the victim.
Reporting live for Black TV. White folks are dead. We're getting the out of here.
Meanwhile, Brenda's brother, Shorty, is happy to be cornered by the media. Are you too close?
Real close. Until the roofies wore off. Then she woke up talking about pressing charges.
Whoa. We cut to Greg and Ray. Do I look gay? Nah, dude.
What about now?
Sus. Brenda and Buffy meet their boyfriends. Buffy and Greg start to make out while Ray comments on Bobby being late despite living in a trailer truck right on the campus grounds. Afterward, the group sits by the school fountain when Cindy suddenly brings up the crime they are all involved in. A year before Drew's death, the 6 of them are in the car, Brenda and Buffy making out with their boyfriends.
Oh, I love when you play with my ass.
What? I'm not doing it. My bad. Yeah, he's gay. Cindy is sitting beside Bobby, who is driving. Greg stands up, half of his body outside the car. Meanwhile, Bobby is pleading with Cindy to touch him down there. Expectedly, Greg gets hit by a tree branch, so he loses grip on the alcohol bottle, hitting Cindy on the head. In the ensuing chaos, they hit a man. Bobby immediately steps on the brake while the gang screams from the sudden events. Outside, they find an old man's body lying on the ground. Cindy wants to call the police, starting an argument with the others who do not want to be in prison. Do you know what they do to young boys in prison?
It rhymes with grape.
Oops, wrong movie. While fighting, the man wakes up, stands up like nothing happened, and tells them that he is fine, but the group cannot hear him. Just when the man is leaving, Greg throws another bottle of alcohol, hitting the man and knocking him down. Finally, the group notices the unconscious man. Buffy calms down Cindy while the boys grabs the body.
I got his arm. I'll grab his other arm. I'll grab his ass.
Of course you will. Suddenly, Shorty's gang arrives. You can't drive, you don't have papers.
I got papers, blunts, bongs.
Following that, they drive into the pier, where Cindy's friends rob the innocent man before dumping his body in the water. After that, Greg packed with his friends, especially Cindy, about not sharing what happened to anyone. It's all gonna be okay.
Just touch it again. Come on.
Back in the present, Cindy's friends assure her that it is a coincidence that another killing happened a year precisely after they killed a man. Let it go, Cindy.
What do you think, we're in a horror movie?
Meanwhile, Gail, a reporter from earlier, tries to interview the sheriff, who immediately shuts her down. Pissed off, Gail thinks of another way to get information when she notices Buffy's disabled brother, Special Officer Doofy. Gail seduces the innocent Doofy to get him to reveal the police business. While Cindy is bored with the presentation in class, she sees Ghostface outside the window with a hook in his hand. Shocked, Cindy diverts her gaze while the killer hides behind the tree. Then, she notices a letter that the killer knows about their pact on her desk. After that, Doofy assists Cindy in the principal's office, where a police officer interviews her about Drew. On the other hand, the football team hits the shower with Ray enthusiastically complimenting his teammates after their practice while Greg insists on staying to hit the gym. After that, Greg sees a photograph of his small genitals in his locker, prompting him to be angry.
Small dick like a disability.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, Greg. Following that, Greg finds his friends at the fountain. He shows the picture and Cindy stops laughing and informs everyone that she received a note too and that somebody knows about their secret. As expected, Greg shuts her up and beats her for insisting on calling the police. Heck yeah, dude, gender equality. Just kidding. That night, Cindy, Greg, and Bobby support Buffy at the school beauty pageant on the balcony. Moments later, Cindy and Bobby leave Greg to find seats. He enthusiastically yells to show his support as Buffy prepares to do a dramatic reading for her talent. Suddenly, Buffy sees the killer behind Greg and screams at everyone to help Greg. He's killing him. What's wrong with you people?
She's good.
She calls for a minute as the killer repeatedly stabs Greg, but the audience and judges applaud her, thinking it is part of her talent. Buffy runs backstage crying because of what she just saw. Still, when another contestant informs her that she won the pageant, Buffy immediately stops crying and
Greg, I won!
I wish I can move on that fast. She celebrates people's adornment for her, forgetting her boyfriend. Afterward, they are confused by Greg's body missing and the blood disappearing on the floor, but the killer is just behind them, cleaning the mess and hiding Greg's body. Subsequently, while Cindy is taking a bath, the killer calls her, causing her to run to the front door.
Ow! Ow!
Suddenly, the killer informs her that he is just inside the house. Cindy gasps as the killer continues to mock when she suddenly sees his feet behind the couch. After that, Cindy stupidly obliges to the killer's demands to let him hide. He then chases her around the house until to her room, where she calls the police. The killer suddenly vanishes, and Bobby startles her when he emerges from the window. Cindy cries as Bobby hugs her when suddenly, a knife falls together with a cell phone falls from him. Cindy breaks the hug and immediately runs to the door, suspecting Bobby as the killer. After that, Cindy remains undaunted as Bobby convinces her that he is not the killer. A police officer then shows pictures of himself in underwear to Cindy, getting her opinion about them. Shortly after, Buffy arrives and assists Cindy in staying at their house. Outside, the precinct is cornered by the press, wanting to get a statement from Cindy. Remember this?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Ha! That night, at Buffy's room, Buffy and Cindy talk about Bobby being the killer. Doofy comes in and gives an ice pack to Cindy, and before leaving, he makes a comment about the body that she and her friends dumped that night. Cindy immediately confronts Buffy for revealing their secret, but Buffy's mother calls Cindy and informs her that someone is on the phone for her. Cindy answers the phone, and the killer immediately taunts her for imprisoning Bobby, causing her to be paranoid. The following day, Ray informs Cindy that Bobby is out of jail. I feel like I've seen this before. You had the same experience before?
Nah, it was in this movie Scream. Same dialogue and everything. This is ill.
Let's gather in my house, don't tell anybody.
Yo! Party at Cindy's house!
You piece of shit. If you see Bobby, tell him I love him.
If I see Bobby, I'll tell him I love him.
What the f? Seconds later, Cindy bumps into Bobby, who is offended by the accusation of his own girlfriend. It's not me, I was in jail.
You're the best.
Yep, he dropped the soap. Cindy refuses to be with Bobby and leaves. Meanwhile, the sheriff holds a small conference outside the school to talk about the recent events in their town. Gail accidentally makes herself suspicious when she mentions confidential information about the case.
Gail swallows.
On the other hand, the girls have just finished showering when Buffy decides to make fun of Cindy, pretending that she is in a phone call with the killer. The whole laugh at the joke except for Cindy and their teacher, a buff woman. She informs the students with guidelines and offers to listen to their problems. Following that, Cindy approaches her teacher. There's something bugging me.
Feminine odor and itching got you down?
She assures Cindy that everyone has a secret, then opens her legs, revealing her man part. The teacher then stands up and talks to Cindy, shocked, while her balls hang between her legs. Appalled by what she saw, Cindy respectfully excuses herself and leaves. Later that day, the killer comes out in the locker room with a knife in his hand, trying to scare Buffy. But instead, she laughs at him and makes fun of the cliché moves of the killer. He beheads Buffy, who keeps talking despite after getting killed. Irritated by the talkative head, the killer dumps Buffy in the bin. Later, we see a man. He's tired of his life. Do a flip. Then, Cindy and her friends gets out, frustrated that the killer is just messing with them. Cindy angrily shouts at the killer.
What are you waiting for?
Oops. Later that day, Brenda and Ray are getting intimate together, but Ray wants to make her look like his teammate.
Take it, Brandon! Take it, Brandon! Brenda! Come on!
Nice save. The following night, Gail is waiting for a killing to happen at the Lovers Lookout. Just then, they see a girl student in a car and interview her when the killer suddenly comes out and repeatedly stabs the student. Insensitive by the happenings, Gail insists on continuing her report, but the killer is pissed off and chases her and her cameraman. After a while, Gail records herself crying for being so selfish. Meanwhile, the movie starts when Ray excuses himself to go to the bathroom. While peeing, Ray notices something besides his stall and puts his ear beside a hole when male genitalia passes through his ears. Meanwhile, the killer sits beside Brenda, who thinks it is Ray. Fed up by her rude and obnoxious behavior, someone snatches the knife away from the killer and stabs Brenda. Then, all of them start to stab and beat her up, making the killer's work easier. On the other hand, teenagers are having fun at Cindy's house. One girl goes to the garage to take some beers when the killer suddenly appears. Scared, the girl tries to get away, even trying to fit herself into the small door for kittens. The killer pushes a button, lifting the garage door, but it malfunctions because the girl is stuck, causing it to collapse. Meanwhile, upstairs in her room, Cindy informs Bobby that she is ready, so they immediately make out. "You like that, babe?" While they're getting into it. At the same time, Shorty and his friends turn an aquarium into a pipe to smoke. The killer walks in on them but instead joins their smoking session. After having fun by making prank jokes, the killer, Shorty, and his friends then decide to have a rap battle. The killer delivers a slaying rap, slashing Shorty's friend with his hook. Stoned, Shorty is somewhat impressed with his skills. After their lovemaking, Cindy raises her concern about Bobby being late for the party. She thinks it is a cliché if he turns out to be the killer, so Bobby tells her that he did not kill Buffy and Greg. Cindy is surprised to hear the death of her friends but is more surprised when the killer comes into her room. Cindy tries to warn Bobby, but it is too late because the killer repeatedly stabs him. He then goes to Cindy to kill her, but she quickly runs downstairs. Cindy immediately gets her father's gun and aims at the killer, but instead, Bobby shows up in pain. Cindy assists him and gives him the weapon as he orders her. Just then, Shorty comes out and informs them that there is a killer. All of a sudden, Bobby laughs at Shorty and then shoots him, despite Cindy stopping him. Cindy looks at Bobby, who is smiling like a maniac, and informs her that it is just ketchup on his shirt. Cindy then tries to run, but Ray appears out of nowhere, so she asks for his help. But then, Ray remains unmoved, and uses a voice changer to sound like the killer. Bobby and Ray corner Cindy in the kitchen. Cindy asks for their motive, but madmen they are, they laugh at Cindy and reveal that they have plotted everything. Ray leaves and gets back with Cindy's father, tied up. Bobby then informs Cindy that he and Ray will survive the murders. So Ray proceeds to repeatedly stab Bobby, although a bit much. Just then, the real killer shows up and kills Ray with his hook. Cindy fights the killer, their moves are like in an action movie. Finally, Cindy kicks the killer outside the window. After that, Cindy unties her father and runs outside as they hear the sirens wailing. Cindy screams in frustration after finding out that the killer got away. At the police station, while Cindy is explaining that the man they dumped in the waters is coming after them, Doofy barges in and delivers some papers. Doofy immediately leaves after that, while the sheriff suspects that it must be someone connected to the murdered people. Realization hits Cindy that Doofy is the killer because no one suspects him. They immediately find Doofy, who changes into a handsome man. A car stops by, and Doofy gets in and kisses the driver, Gail. The movie ends with Doofy getting away and leaving evidence on the road, while Cindy shouts at the sky because of frustration and then gets hit by a car. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.